Groin muscle.
Yeah.
They run it right up your groin.
Right, very close to your deal.
He never, ever really does tell you much about his personal life. And here was about as personal as you can get. You know, a guy with heart disease and worried about it.
The next day, it's all over the news. Dave Letterman has undergone emergency heart surgery.
Doctors say the operation went smoothly, and Letterman, who is 52 years old, should make a rapid recovery.
5 weeks later, on February 21st, a gaunt Letterman takes the stage and introduces the medical team that saved his life. For the first time, he becomes emotional on the air.
So it was 5 weeks ago today that these men and women right here saved my life. And
that evening, the program receives its highest ratings in 6 years. And for the first time, Dave openly jokes about being passed over for the one job he has coveted most of his life.
one thing, bypass surgery, it's when doctors surgically create new blood flow to your heart. Bypass surgery. A bypass is what happened to me when I didn't get the Tonight Show.
Most agree David Letterman has redefined comedy. And since surviving his brush with death, it looks like David has started redefining himself. He's beginning to seem at peace, finally confident in the success that he has spent a lifetime building.
If you've been keeping up and scoring well, you'll know our class president served during Vietnam in the Air National Guard. India, Cowboy, and Ernie are his pet cats. Like his father, he was a pitcher for Yale and was born in New Haven, Connecticut. But do you know his name? Matt has that answer when we come back.
Welcome back, everyone, and here it comes. Of all the personalities who defined the year 2000, no one stands out like the headliner our viewers chose as class president. He served during Vietnam in the Texas Air National Guard. India, Cowboy, and Ernie are the names of his pet cats. Like his father, he pitched for the Yale University baseball team, and he was born in New Haven, Connecticut. Our class president is also our next president, George W. Bush.
Whether you voted for me or not, I will do my best to serve your interests, and I will work to earn your respect.
He may be president-elect, but for George Walker Bush, getting there wasn't pretty. First came the late-night jokes.
Strategery.
Then came the weirdest election finish in a century.
We have just been told the U.S. Supreme Court has issued a decision in the case Bush v. Gore.
When 2000 dawned, W, as he's called by his friends, was in the midst of a fundraising juggernaut.
I feel something in the air.
But questions about his past kept coming back to haunt him. As early as his days at Yale, his father and grandfather's alma mater, George W. shows he's as interested in extracurricular activities as in his studies.
He was interested in the process of being a student, having fun being there. He was almost a good time Charlie, to use the words of some of his friends.
After college, he goes through what some refer to as his wild period. He applies to law school at the University of Texas, but is rejected. 7 years later, he'll get his MBA at Harvard Business School. But in the meantime, he earns a reputation for partying.
Here he is in Houston in the early 70s. He's single, he's good looking, he's rich, he's from a famous family.
His swinging single days will come to an end in 1977 after he meets Laura Welch at a friend's barbecue.
He burned up the telephone lines between there and Austin for 4 or 5 weeks, and he proposed marriage. And they were married in 4 months.
Like his father before him, George W. tries his hand in the oil business. Then later takes a swing at partial ownership of a professional baseball team. But the pull of politics is irresistible. In his mid-30s, he makes an unsuccessful bid for Congress. Then, in 1994, he takes on Democratic incumbent Ann Richards in a fight for the governor's office.
All of us will achieve a fantastic victory because I am going to be your governor.
Bush prevails, and at age 48, he moves his wife and twin daughters into the governor's mansion. But he's still shadowed by questions about his wilder years. He will admit to abusing alcohol in the past. After a particularly rough night on his 40th birthday, he says he quit for good.
I did stop drinking 11 years ago.
Why?
Because I was drinking too much. Laura suggested it was either me or Jim Beam. Her or Jim Beam.
His partying past will crop up again during the presidential campaign and cause George W. some Alka-Seltzer moments on his way to the White House.
You know what happens? Somebody floats a rumor and then it causes you to ask a question. And that's the game in American politics, and I refuse to play it.
He tries to end the controversy by saying he hasn't used illegal drugs in the past 25 years, since he was 28. He refuses to say more. Despite being governor of the second largest state, Bush picks up a reputation as being naive in foreign affairs.
Can you name the president of Chechnya?
No, can you?
Can you name the president of Taiwan?
Yeah, Lee. The new Pakistani general has just been elected. He's not elected. This guy took over office. He appears he's going to bring stability to the country, and I think that's good news for the subcontinent.
And you can name him.
General. I can't name the general.
And it's
General.
I think that one thing you find about George W. Bush is he's not really a detail guy.
He never wants to know more than he needs to know to answer any question or settle any problem. He's a clean desk guy.
Some high-profile missteps during the campaign add fuel to the fire.
They want the federal government controlling the Social Security like it's some kind of federal program.
The late-night comedians circle like vultures.
You see George Bush playing fetch with his dog yesterday? They're playing fetch because, yeah, the dog beat him 2 out of 3 times in scramble.
Then, 5 days before the general election, comes the revelation that in 1976, George W. was arrested for driving under the influence.
There's a report out tonight that 24 years ago, I was apprehended in Kennebunkport, Maine for a DUI. That's an accurate story.
But Republicans worry about the effect on such a tight race. No one can guess at what lies ahead.
George Bush is the president-elect of the United States.
So they've gone back to do a recount. That recount may not be done until 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Tonight, NBC News has learned the Gore campaign has contacted Florida's most powerful law firm to explore the possibility of a challenge to the Florida vote.
Today marks exactly 4 weeks since Election Day and still no president. In fact, we've been in a state of suspended animation in a way.
Finally, on December 12th, a controversial decision by the U.S. Supreme Court effectively hands the election to George Bush. He and Laura prepare to move into the White House and prepare for their role in history.
I'm thankful to the American people for the great privilege of being able to serve as your next president.
So we have a new president for a new year and a new century. And even as we close the book on the class of 2000, on those who made headlines and those who became legends, we open another one. I'm Matt Lauer. Thanks for watching, and for all us at MSNBC and the entire NBC News family, have a safe and a very happy New Year.